Okay, morning everybody. So if I can just have your attention. Thank you very much. Welcome to our final Parent Academy of this year. Thank you for battling the cold weather and the snow to get here this morning. Really my role today is just to introduce our speakers and just give you an idea about the intention for today and the purpose behind why we're meeting. So I've got three really. The first one is to understand the transition. So we want to make sure that primary parents specifically, but also Key Stage 3 parents, understand the key differences between the different phases in our school, including academic expectations, routines, which Mr. McLaughlin will talk to shortly. We want to build confidence and equip parents with the knowledge to support their children through the transition. While we are one campus, we do understand there is often a lack of understanding or lack of communication between the phases, and this is going to help bridge that. We hope anyway, and fostering engagement. So we want to strengthen the partnership between parents and the school by providing you insights into the structure of secondary school life. We think it's really important, our home-school coordination, that link between parents is really valuable to us, and we've spoken about it at length in other parent academies as well, and we'll speak to it today as well, and how you can help and support from home so that your children can thrive while they're here at school. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Edmondson, who's going to talk about the role of the tutor.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Smith. As Mr. Smith said, my name's Mr. Edmondson, and I am the head of Year 7 here in the secondary school. And I'd like to talk to you about the differences between primary and secondary in terms of these sort of pastoral aspects and the form tutor role, okay? Because it's something quite different from the sort of one teacher that the students have each day in primary. There we go. As said, I'm the head of year, and each of the year groups within the secondary school is assigned one head of year, and their responsibilities are the things that I've written up there. Okay, so we are responsible for the overall pastoral aspect of each of the year groups. My role is quite specific because in Year 7, me and the tutor team, which I'll show you in a second, are responsible for making the transition from primary to secondary as smooth as we can. Okay, we also take on some of the situations which go beyond the role of the form tutor. So things like tracking rewards, areas for improvement. If we've got some students maybe who are doing academically not as well in one of the subjects, we jump in and try and find out why and see how we can support them. Same thing with attendance and punctuality. So we take a very broad look at the year groups and we say, okay, is there something that's stopping this student from coming into school on time, or in generally attending, and seeing how we can best support them in their first year of secondary school. The last one is also very, very important. As heads of year, we're all about celebrating success. So just as we have in primary schools, things like Star of the Week and assemblies, it's the head of year's role to choose some of our key students and rewarding them for things like excellent academic work, excellent effort across the year, and representing our school. Okay, so that's all of the tasks of the head of year. Each of the students, when they come into Year 7, is divided this year into one of 4 forms. And so working slightly underneath the head of year, you have the 4 form tutors. Okay, and there they are from this year. These are the Year 7 form tutors this year. If you're in primary school, you may know 3 of them already. Just Mr. Kiros, extra science teacher there, who's only in the secondary. But we have some of the form tutors working across the primary and secondary phase, which means, of course, that the children know somebody familiar when they come in. Their job is a sort of first point of contact for both you and for the students. So every morning, when the students come in, this is the first teacher that they go and see. Okay, so at 8:20, they go to their form rooms, and the job of the form tutor there is to welcome the students in and to share any important notices for the day. Okay, so we set them up nicely for the day. After that, they then head off to their other subjects, and they may have sort of 6 or 7 more teachers during that day. These are also the guys with first-line responsibility for pastoral care and academics things. So if you as parents have a concern about how your children are doing at school, these are the ones that you contact. Okay, so they're responsible for only 20 of the students, and then the heads of year have a look across all 4 of the forms. This is quite different from the role of the primary class teacher. Because of course in primary, you often have that one teacher that looks after the students throughout the day, right? And they'll know all about the pastoral things, they'll know all about the academic things. In secondary school, we see it slightly differently. The tutors are often only there for 20-ish minutes in the morning, and then the kids will have other teachers throughout the day, and they're more pastoral based. So for things like academic concerns, in secondary school, parents, you talk to the teachers of the subjects as opposed to the form tutors. Okay, so they're really keen on the pastoral aspect. When students come in, these are the kind of activities that they'll be doing. So we have the daily bulletin where students find out all the information for the day and the upcoming weeks. They are responsible for checking attendance, and this is when we make sure that uniform looks perfect. And then we'll do some team building activities with them. I'm not sure if there's you'll see some examples from the Year 7 activities that we have with Miss Vaughan later on. Okay, so it's a really great session for them. It helps them build those secondary relationships when they come in, and it's a really important way that they sort of start the day. All right? One other key aspect that the form tutors and I are responsible for is PSHE, Personal, Social and Health Education, which is done in primary school, and we then further extend when they come into secondary school. This is our overview for Key Stage 3, so Year 7, 8 and 9. This year, the heads of year have worked together to sort of rewrite our PSHE scheme so that it's really relevant for an international school, and so that we can really target the areas that we feel that our students need a little bit of work on or guidance with. The red ones there are the Year 7 topics. So as you can see here, this is Autumn 1, so when they first come into school, we spend a couple of weeks looking at how we can help the Year 7s transition from primary school into secondary school. Right, so we might have them do some team building work with the other students in the year group. We may have them go and find some specific staff members and talk to them. We may have them sort of, scavenger hunt and treasure hunt around the school because it's quite big compared to their primary school. And then, once we've finished with those, we get into the real sort of meaty PSHE topics, things like physical health and puberty we spend a while looking at, and then we go through the year looking at things like diversity and how we can sort of respect each other in an international school. We look at our planet and financial awareness, so planning for things like budgeting when they get slightly older, which is important in Year 7. This year at the end, we've also put quite a large module on mental health. Last year, we sent out a couple of questionnaires to the students, and one of the areas they identified that they'd like to look at more is mental health. How can we deal with things like exam stress? How can we deal with things like nerves when we're coming into school for the first time? And so we've worked with the other Key Stage 3 tutors to put ourselves together a really good mental health program across Year 7, 8 and 9. Okay, so we've got a really strong PSHE system for them this year. All right, so there's our PSHE. As I was saying, this line here, mental health and all of that kind of thing, that's brand new for us this year. It's a real big push we're having in our school just to help with the pastoral care of the students, particularly in Year 7, but also in 8 and 9 as well. Okay? Super. All right. I'll try it if you want. Okay, that's my little section finished. I've put this picture on here. It's the same picture that I show to the Year 7s on their very, very first day. And it's a reminder that all of us in the school, all of the teachers, but as well the Year 7 pastoral teams, that's me and the form tutors, we all had that first day in Year 7, where we moved from primary school into secondary school. This was me when it was the 2000s, when it was cool to have sort of spikes at the top and a big tie knot as big as you could have there. But it's a reminder, our job is to help your children move up from primary school into secondary school and really make that transition as smooth as we can. We've all been through it too. We remember, for some of us, this is our 3rd or 4th year working as a Year 7 tutor, working in the team there. And so it's something that we've become very much experts at, and we're continually trying to improve as we sort of take on new students every year. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm back to Mrs. Smith, thanks, or Miss Vaughan. Okay.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm Miss Vaughan and I am Deputy Head Pastoral. So I work really closely with Mr. Edmondson and his team. Just before I do start, you can see that there are some planners that are set out on the desk. If you want to have a little look through those, we're really trying to push the planners. And it's a new design this year, and we're able to let students reflect on their weeks, and there are pages in there dedicated solely to reflection activities and goal setting as well. So we want to make use of these planners as much as possible. Okay, so pastoral care. This was actually in one of the presentations that Mr. Charlton has given. And what we aim to have a superb pastoral care. So students at ISM will develop in a secure and caring environment with the highest levels of personalised support. The safety and support our school provides allows our students to flourish in their education. Right, I realise that's a lot of words to describe what I actually do, but it is all about making sure that students are happy, healthy and safe. So that is the definition of well-being, the state of being comfortable, healthy or happy. What I try to do is I work closely with all of the heads of years on pastoral issues, and make sure that students feel comfortable to come to me or to other teachers if they have any problems. So what we do have with our wellbeing is we have a student support service. So we have Miss Mordani who can help with academics, but we also have a school counsellor as well. Our school counsellor is Miss Polina. She is available for appointments. Students can make those appointments at any time during the year, and they can go to Miss Polina and talk about any issues that they wish to if they don't feel comfortable approaching a teacher. We've also introduced a buddy system, so that is down to the sixth formers. And what that provides is it provides older students as role models and buddies to mainly Key Stage 3. I know some people have got them in primary school as well. So these people are from year 10 onwards, and we've got one buddy here. So we've got Aliana who will be speaking later. But what they do and what their aim is to do is to talk to students. They've been through Key Stage 3. They've been through all the problems that, coming into year 7 is going to hold for some people. So they've been through it recently. They know how to deal with it. They've got some advice. And also they're another student. So they are going through the exact same things, the exact same feelings. We also have our PSHE lessons, which Mr. Edmondson touched on, which focus on, the personalised approach to learning and developing students and getting them to think about the worldwide issues and to give them a chance to talk about how they feel and also to listen to other people's opinions. So PSHE, for me, PSHE is a lesson where they can forget about academics for 55 minutes and they can talk about what matters in the wider world, and any issues that they have, they can voice. So it is kind of like a question and answer session with activities thrown in there as well. Tutor time, I am going to show you a few videos that I took last week during tutor time. So there are different activities and they are all based on building relationships. You come into year 7, it's really scary, you don't know people. This is why tutor time is so important, because you build that relationship with other students in the class as well as your form tutor as well. Like I said, sixth form support, we have a lot. We have mentoring, we have buddy systems. They are always there to help the year 7s particularly, but also Key Stage 3. So I know that one PSHE lesson was specifically for the girls in the year group, and we had a few sixth formers who spoke about periods and what will happen, and it's something that they felt comfortable with, and they see them as older sisters in the school and someone to go to. What we want to do and what we've really pushed on is building positive relationships and making sure that every child, every student feels like they've been heard. So instead of the quite hard approach and the shouting approach, that is not my approach at all. Okay, my door is always open for students as well as heads of years and tutors, and it is really important that students know that we are here to listen and we are here to help as much as we can, and that they can come to us with any concern that they may have, whether it be academic or pastoral. We also have an anti-bullying system which came about with Alex Kudzik and Anna in our sixth form, and we kind of released this during anti-bullying week, which was a few weeks ago, and it's just a very simple version of what to do if you see bullying, if you are being bullied. It's something that students can look at and think, okay, I know where to go. So we've got tell a friend, a buddy or parents, tell the teachers, tell your tutor, and then it can be escalated and they can tell myself or Mr. Smith, and we deal with everything from there. So it is that knowing what to do and who to talk to. We want to be very open, very transparent with the fact that we are here to help. Okay. So I promised that I would give you some tutor time activities, and I think this is the reason why the presentation is slowing down, but it's definitely worth it. So this is at 7A with Miss Samuels. They were doing a Just Dance. So you can definitely tell that Miss Samuels is a PE teacher. She brings all the energy, and that is not a one-off. That is every single morning. Miss Samuels is a kind of ray of sunshine and also a ball of energy. So she really helps students to wake up in the morning, whereas, you know, they might not be feeling it as much, but if you're forced to do something, then they enjoy it in the end. Okay, next one, we've got 7B.
Maybe you could do radio. No, radio is not gonna work. Yeah. How is that 5 letters? Right?
Aliens.
Oh, aliens. But it doesn't start with A though.
Someone said radio. R-A-N.
Maybe, okay.
Maybe it's R-A-N-G.
G?
Range.
Okay.
Range rover.
Great. Okay, that sounds good. Oh,
Okay, so that was them doing the Wordle. I'm unsure whether they succeeded with the Wordle, but that is a different activity that they take. Next, we've got Miss Camino's class watching Planet Earth.
The more likely it is to survive. Keeping warm.
And then the final one, we've got 7D, guessing the flag.
It's not.
So it's really important that during tutor time, we minimize the screen time and we make sure that there are team building activities and a little bit of competition as well. You can move on. Okay, so what I've also done is I'm going to speak about the triangle of support. So there needs to be communication between teacher, student and parents to make sure that, you know, students are feeling happy, healthy and safe. Again, which is pastoral and what that job is about. So what we want to do is we want to celebrate successes, as Mr. Edmondson spoke about, by giving out merits. Obviously there are sanctions in place as well, so we have AFGs. AFGs can be for a range of different things. It can be from not doing homework, and it can be from disruptive behaviour, swearing, etc. You will get notifications when a student receives a merit or an AFG. What we have put in place this year is a detention system. So every Thursday, if students receive 3 or more areas for growth within a week, they will join myself or another member of the team for 30 minutes at the beginning of their lunchtime, and they will sit in detention and they will reflect on what they can do in order to avoid being in their room again the following week. We also have student journals, as I've mentioned, so please take a look at those. What we're pushing for this year in particular is punctuality. Now, some of you may have seen a very long line at reception each morning. That is to receive a red slip. Now, we want students to be as punctual as possible, and a lot of students tend to come in around about 8:35, which is classed as late. If they have 3 lates in a week, they will also be put into detention. We understand that there are other commitments. There may be traffic, the snow today, but we do encourage students are punctual, not only at the beginning of the day, but also during the day as well. So arrive into classes on time. And then this is my final slide, I think. So it's our approach to behaviour. So a positive, fair and consistent approach across the school to ensure all students feel heard and seen. That is the main goal. And what we are doing is we are making sure that students feel comfortable. If they have a problem, they can go to any member of staff and ask them for advice. So that is the goal, to get every member of staff on board with this. We have got the success skills this year, which run from primary and now they're in secondary. So it's a nice, something that they already know. And we do use them during our assemblies, and we do give merits for success skills as well. And all of those success skills are things that will help in the future, especially when they approach GCSE, A-level, they're all very important. Mobile phones, so there are posters around the school, never seen, and never used and never heard. It is a positive system that is working. We have reduced the amount of mobile phones we see in school, in and around school. And a lot of the students are very supportive with this, and they understand the consequences. We want to reduce screen time. We know we have laptops, we know we have phones, but the most important thing right now is to make sure that they fully embrace the school and they build positive relationships. So the behaviour policy is currently under review and it will be released soon. So myself and Mr. Smith are working really hard on that, just so that it can be a lot clearer with kind of examples of what different levels of behaviour is. Okay, and then also I finally want to end on a positive note. So this is, we've spoken about the behaviour policy, but we have also, as teachers, came to realise that we need to meet in the middle, we need to compromise. So there are a few things that they weren't allowed to do, but now they can. So we want to meet in the middle where possible and to make sure that students know that they are being heard. Okay? Because all of these, so nails, jewellery, makeup, they have been voiced, we've listened, and we have tweaked the behaviour policy to kind of accommodate those students and to make sure that they do feel like their opinions are being taken into account. Okay, so thank you very much. And next is Mr. McLaughlin.
Okay, so just as people are starting to retake their seats, I'll introduce myself a little bit. Now, I'm not actually going to have any ABBA videos in this presentation, so apologies for that. I'm very grateful that you've all made it here today, though. Braced for snow, and also many familiar faces from the road to university as well. So it's fantastic to see you all back here today. You really are showing that when it comes to that triangle of support that Miss Vaughan spoke about earlier, you are very much integrated into that. So it's great to see. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about 4 of the most prominent issues that we find parents want to know about when their children are moving between the primary school and the secondary school. So those 4 issues, as you can see, the curriculum, the grades, the homework, and the reports. What I want to do as much as possible is highlight the parallels between how we do things in the secondary school and how things have been done in the primary school, so what students are already used to. On top of this, I also want to highlight any key differences that could affect your children as they make their way into secondary education, and why we do things slightly differently from the primary school.
So I'm going to spend 10 minutes on these 4 themes today, but I could do a real deep dive on the curriculum. And so I fully encourage you to, in your own time, access the important documents section of the ISM website. There you can find the curriculum guides for Key Stage 3, Key Stage 4. Marketing have done a wonderful job putting them together. And you can see a breakdown of each term, exactly what each year group will be studying. These go hand in hand with the grade descriptor booklets. So we've got the Key Stage 3 grade descriptors and the Key Stage 4 grade descriptors there. And again, for each grade and each subject, you can see exactly what students will need to have achieved in order to progress to the next grade. So for example, in mathematics, students might have achieved every single descriptor for a grade 6, but they might not yet be able to do constructions, and therefore they would stay at a grade 5 because we use a holistic grading system. So that's the curriculum, and as I say, I do encourage you to peruse those documents in your own time. Now the numbers on the screen here refer to how many lessons over the course of a 2-week period students receive in Key Stage 3. Key Stage 3 spans the years 7, 8 and 9. So you can see the core subjects remain the same. And if your child is on the EAL register, they would still come out of English first language lessons to do EAL, and they may also come out of modern foreign language lessons, just like in the primary school. The core differences here are when it comes to facilities. So we have specialist teachers in every single one of these subjects. And for example, in art, in science, and in drama, we also have specialist facilities. Science lessons are now done in laboratories. Art lessons are now done in art rooms. With the 3 music lessons that we have over a 2-week period, 2 of them are SIPS lessons, just like they would be in the primary school, and 1 of them is now a music theory lesson. So that's the way the allocations work in Key Stage 3. We've still got physical education, and as Mr. Edmondson alluded to before, we've got PSHE and assembly, which are integral parts of our secondary curriculum. So, I want to talk a little bit about homework. Now, if you've been to one of my sessions before, you'll know they can be quite interactive. So in front of you, you can probably see some mini whiteboards and some pens. And I'm going to get you a little bit involved in this session, because there's an educational researcher by the name of John Hattie, and he comes from New Zealand. And what he did was he looked at a number of interventions, such as setting homework for secondary students, and he subtracted the attainment of the students who had the homework and the attainment of the control group, and then he divided by the standard deviation to calculate what's called a Cohen-D score. So Cohen-D, anything above 0.4 is seen as a really worthwhile intervention, and anything above 0.6 is seen as being an absolutely excellent intervention. So if you're feeling brave, can I ask you to write on your mini whiteboards a little guesstimate at what you think the Cohen-D score for homework might be? So again, anything above 0.4 has a good impact on a student's outcomes. Anything above 0.6 has an excellent impact on a student's outcomes. I can see Alex Kutzik is feeling quite confident there. We're going for 0.8. Any other numbers? Or we got 0.6, less optimistic over here, and 0.7. I have to say, the parents are a little bit closer than you, Alex, today. It is 0.64. So while that is very optimistic, homework has an excellent impact on a secondary student's attainment grades. And the older they get, the more of an impact it has, because the figure in primary is just 0.16. So it has a much lower impact in primary than it does in the secondary school. Another similarity you'll see in the secondary school when it comes to homework is this focus on success skills. So in the secondary school, we've taken inspiration actually from the primary school, and we've moved to a values-based system, and we're already starting to reap the benefits of that. And I believe that doing homework to a high standard helps students to evidence resilience, self-discipline, independence, and balance, among other success skills depending on the task they've been set. Now, students will all be familiar from primary with this kind of vocabulary, and we will keep this running into secondary this year. On the left here, you can see an example of what a homework timetable would look like in Key Stage 3. So this is actually from this year. This is Group 8A's homework timetable. So you can see each of these tasks would take about 30 minutes to complete. We would never ever set homework for the next day. And that's because we know students have a lot going on in their free time. We know that your children have clubs, they have events, they might have extra lessons in various things after school, so we would never ever set homework for the next day. We would always endeavour to try to give at least a week to all of our children to complete any homework tasks. So we don't feel as though this timetable is excessive. They would also never have more than 2 homeworks due on any given day. With regards to where it's recorded, so students should be recording their homework in their planners, and in Year 9 there is an increase to 30 to 45 minutes per task. Okay? Keep putting this down. Me and clickers don't really go very well together, I have to say. I always forget about them. Okay, when it comes to reports, so we really value, as Miss Vaughan was mentioning before, that triangle of support. We want to work as closely as possible with parents to produce the best possible outcomes for our students. When it came to parents having realistic and high expectations of their child's achievement and future achievement, and when it came to communicating those expectations regularly with their children, it was actually found that parent involvement had a Co&D score of 0.7. So that means a parent's involvement in their child's education is of the utmost importance. And because of this, we think it's so important to write the highest possible quality reports that we can. And you can see here an example of one. So it's a Saxon's report. For obvious reasons, I've anonymized it. We've got the attainment and the target grade, and I'll go into a little bit more detail with regards to our grading structure in just a moment. And then we've got a range of fields and whether children are meeting, surpassing, or below expectations in each of these respective fields. We would never ever have a child who is surpassing expectations in every field. And the reason for that is if a child is surpassing all of our expectations, then our expectations are not high enough for that particular child. And one of the indicators of, in fact, the biggest indicator of student achievement is teachers having high and realistic expectations. That's 1.46, by the way, when it comes to a Co&D score. That is the highest possible indicator of student attainment. So you can see here with our action points, we always try and write something positive about every child's performance over the course of the term. And we also write something in each action point that a child can do to get even better. And this is something that as students move from Year 6 into Year 7, I believe they will really benefit from. But the report dates, the release dates, are exactly the same as they were in Year 6. So between Years 7 and 10, the reports go out on exactly the same dates. Any questions on this, by the way? There will be a Q&A session at the end, and we will be sending these slides to you. So don't feel the need to take any photos. I believe Mr. Fox Powell as well is doing a wonderful job at recording all of this. So don't feel like you're missing anything if you don't quite get a video or if I'm standing in the way of the screen. I do apologize. So with regards to our grading system, this is what it looks like. Again, Mr. Fox Powell was very helpful in putting this infographic together for me this year. So the highest grade achievable at Key Stage 3 is a grade 8. And you can see here the average attainment grade by the end of each year group in ISM. And this is for every subject. Now, the target that you receive on the report is actually the end of Key Stage target. So the target that you see on your child's report in the secondary school is the target that they should be getting to by the end of year 9. And then we come to PTSCs. So PTSCs, I believe, are an excellent opportunity for you to touch in with every single one of your child's specialist teachers to get a holistic view of how your child is performing. Again, it comes back to this triangle of support. The closer we work together, students, parents, and staff, the better we believe children will attain. And the way it will work is students have 5 minutes for each session with each specialist teacher. So that's slightly different to in primary school where you would just go to the class teacher, but it's because we have so many specialist subjects, so many specialist lessons, and the best way of getting feedback from staff about these specialist subjects is to get it firsthand. So that's why we have it the way we do. Now, just a little bit of information on the road ahead. Some of you may have seen this before. These are the Key Stage 4 allocations. So these refer to how many lessons every 2 weeks students would have in years 10 and 11. We're very, very proud of our Key Stage 4 cohorts. They achieved wonderful results last year, and I'm going to go back into interactive mode here. So what I want you to do on your mini whiteboards is see if you can write down the percentage of our students that got A or A star or equivalent. So we have 2 examination boards. We have CIE that use the letters, and we have Pearson that use the numbers. So how many of our students, what percentage got of our grades? Very close. I can see we got some Telegram users here.
I have a couple of
Any other numbers before we move on here? 57, very good. It's actually very close. So we have 41% of our students getting A to A star or equivalent. That compares to 21.7% in UK schools. So far above the UK average, which is really good. And then at A level, so you can see students have 10 lessons in each of their chosen option subjects. Again, does anyone want to guess how many of our students get A or A star at A level? Any ideas? Go on, Alex. What have you got? 30. We've actually got 58%, which is incredible, and it is massively above the UK average, over double what the UK average is. So we're very, very proud of that. Thank you very much for the interactivity there, Alex, and thank you very much to everyone who participated. If you've got any questions, I'll be back at the end. First, I'm going to take a drink of water, and over to Nikita.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much to Mr. McLaughlin for the presentation with all the academics and everything, but as much as academics are important for the students, I think one of the more important things, I don't know if it's the most important thing, but one of the more important things is the social life of the students. You know, when your child is going from year 6 to year 7, there's a lot of older students that he's going to interact with, and that could actually be a plus, as much as it might be scary to the students or they can be worried. Our school takes wonderful pastoral care of its students. Anti-bullying is really pushed forward. You don't have to worry about your child being hurt. Fights are excluded at all. You won't see that at ISM ever. You know, your child will be perfectly happy, and you can have a lot more opportunities talking to older students, getting inspired. Older students can help him, you know, with homework or just talk around, sitting in the canteen, eating lunch together. It would be a wonderful opportunity for your students. I personally went through this experience. I was in the Krylatskoe school for 30 years now. My whole life I've been at the school. I've been moving from year 6 to year 7, from year 9 to year 10, all these social jumps, and every time it's been smoother than ever. It's just wonderful. All these opportunities a student can get by interacting with older students. Off to Alex.
Thank you. So hi, my name is Alex. I'm this year's head boy. I'm going to talk about some of the things that have been already previously mentioned by Ms. Vaughn, and some of the changes, other academic changes perhaps, that people could expect to see in the jump from year 6 to year 7. I'm going to start off with some of the changing expectations. In year 6, you're given iPads. In year 7, we transition to computers, and you're given a laptop. They're the new Airs, they're the new MacBook Airs, they're given the good laptops. So they use that up until, I believe, year 10 and even further. So they will have access to their pupil portal on iSAMS, where they can check their timetable, they can check their reports. Personally, to me, later on, already closer to year 10, the portal was very useful because I could read my reports, and I myself could get an understanding of what my teachers are saying about me and where to improve, so that I don't have to ask my parents. I have access to all of that, all of those resources by myself, which is very helpful. Also, there's a change in terms of PE, because in year 6, students come into school in their PE kit, whereas in year 7, they're expected to come in their school uniform and bring their PE kit with them on the days that they have PE. We have changing rooms in C block, and every PE lesson they change from their PE kit, from their school uniform to their PE kit. They're usually given, I think, double lessons for PE. That was the case for us. We had double lessons where we had plenty of time to change, plenty of time to engage in lessons, and then towards the end of the lesson, we would head back 10 minutes or so before our next class, where we would change again, and then already go on further. Building on what Mr. Edmondson said about PSHE, PSHE was actually very useful in year 7 up until year 10 even now, because there is an increased focus on mental health. There's an increased focus on some of the things that people don't usually talk about in schools. To me, it was very strange when I heard people from other schools talking about how they never learned anything about drugs or alcohol, for example, very interesting topics like that. And in this school, we were taught, the dangers of it. We were taught every aspect of life that could be important. And when I heard other students from different schools that they haven't learned these things, to me it was a shock. So that just showed how much PSHE teaches us. I overheard a conversation, I believe, about whether students will be in the same class as their friends. Well, as Ms. Vaughn said, there are students coming in from Rosinka, so we have additional students. We have 4 year 7 classes this year, but usually people stay with their friends, but it doesn't really matter in tutor class anyways, because people are going to be organized into sets for English and math. So, that kind of depends already on their abilities. And teachers always push people to try the best they can and to achieve the best they can in their subjects. So, yes, also a very interesting thing, a development, is residential trips. In primary, residential trips were limited to in and around Moscow, but already in secondary, kids have a chance to go abroad. Because of COVID, we didn't really have a chance to go anywhere. We only went in year 7 and year 8, I believe. We went to France, to Ardèche, and we went to Austria, which was quite fun, but then COVID hit, and we haven't had any trips since, unfortunately. But, the kids now, they have plenty of opportunities. They go to Turkey, Thailand, Dubai, plenty of other places, plenty of opportunities to have fun. And finally, I'm going to talk about, one subject, because personally, me, at A-level, I was doing history, I'm doing economics and sociology currently, which are humanities subjects. So I've had humanities as a big part of my academic life. And the transition from year 6 to year 7 sees a transition in subjects from humanities to already more specialist subjects in every area, where you have history, you have geography. So that's not just limited to humanities, it's limited to many other subjects. So Sasha is going to build on that. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Alexandra. I've been at this school for 15 years. I'm going to be talking about art, drama, and production, which are great opportunities at ISM during secondary school. I'm also taking those subjects for A-level right now. So yeah, in arts, you learn about different types of mediums that you can use. You go into art history, you go into different genres of art, like we did in year 7 pop art, which was a lot of fun. And in year 8, you build on digital media, you get to paper mache, which are opportunities that you didn't get to do in year 6. In secondary, we now also have drama, which is a separate subject, which was not a subject in year 6. There you get to build on your confidence levels, you become more comfortable in speaking in front of a group, and it's a great opportunity because right now they are doing stimuli, which is basically where they get given a poem, music, a video, and they build a performance, and they work in teams, and it's great fun, and they learn also drama games, and it's a great opportunity for the year group to become closer together. Production is, as you probably know, Mamma Mia happened last week. It was a great opportunity for kids. So many year 7, 8s, and 9s were there. They get to become friends with older students, and it connects the school together. We become this one great family, and it's a great opportunity for them to build their confidence, be able to talk to people in a bigger group, and be able to get their voice out there, which they don't really do a lot often at school, and it's a great way to push them up and build their confidence. So apologies for my notes, because there's too much things to say, I will not remember. So my name is Aliona, and I'm in the school since year 4. Right now I'm in year 10, but I still remember the transition from year 6 to year 7. And here are the things I think are very important. So different classes, as already mentioned, children will move around classes for each lesson. For example, they can have arts in one class and math in another class. Then new subjects will come, like history, geography, and drama, for example. And there are some more names of teachers to remember, of course, this is kind of hard. Then holiday practice, I would say it's kind of useful to show your child some examples of history or geography over holidays. It's not like they need to learn something before they go to year 7. Teachers will teach them everything from the very start. But I just think it's nice to introduce your child to something new, so they don't get too worried about it during the first days in school. Then more homework assigned, of course. It's kind of hard at first. You need to get used to a lot of homework being assigned to your child. And of course for parents it's also kind of hard when your child is very late doing homework. Just it's also fake with organization. So planners are given out, and your child can try organize his schedule better. Then students are mixed, so as already mentioned, your child may not end up in one class with his friends, and he may not know anybody in his class well enough. But here I think it's important to tell your child not to be scared to socialize during the first days of school, because this is the kind of very important moment when he finds himself new friend group, new friends. He has to build relationships with classmates and teachers, and they really need to try their best, not their best, but be kind of chill and free, and try to speak to other people to find himself friends. Then don't be afraid. Your child should not be afraid to ask questions to the teachers and other students, and you as well. For example, if you find something confusing and you really want to know the answer, don't be scared to ask, because ISM is a very friendly community, and teachers and students are very happy to speak to you in case you need help. Then merits and AGs are going to come instead of merits, and warnings, as already mentioned. So if you had house points, they're not going to be there. There's going to be merits instead, but they're kind of the same. And we have house competitions where merits are counted as well as house points, and yeah, it's kind of similar. And if you get free AGs, you're on detention. Yes. Then more opportunities. Your child gets to communicate more, as already mentioned, and also there are various competitions going around between schools, and your child can communicate with other schools, with other kids. Also, a lot of competitions for music, drama productions. Yes, that's also oh, and also the leadership roles. For example, your child can get more kind of he can be for example a PCT representative. It's basically a student who helps organize the PCT lessons and works with Miss Vaughn, for example, it was when I was in year 8. We had meetings where we were discussing the lesson and were leading it as well. Yeah, that's pretty much all. Thank you.